Some few things that I thought I was doing right, but I was just making things worse.
It might sound to the other person like it's something very easy to do.
I know, but you don't need to interrupt me.
To me, that's a racist move from you. I can't sit anymore in this position.
What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Flying, get on board.
No, it doesn't want to switch on me. So on Instagram we asked a bit like what people would be interested in, like hearing from us or learning from us from our like 7-year relationship now as a mixed race couple. And we thought about 5 tips that we have that helped us in the last years to make our relationship work better than it did in the beginning. Start with the first tip, that is couple therapy. How do you think couple therapy helped us?
Yeah, so the couple therapy did help me to open my eyes and show me some few things that I thought I was doing right, but I was just making things worse. For example, when it comes to the tidying part, Alex didn't like it when I was asking her like, why can't you even just do this? You can just, for example, if it was the part of moving things back to the kitchen after using them, I was just asking, yeah, but just picking this up, you can just take like 1 minute or like few seconds just to just pick up what you just used and put it back to the kitchen. And for her, I don't know, how did that make you feel when I was asking that?
It made me feel like you're my mother, like imitating my mother, like telling me what, like tidying my room as a child, for example. And that's what came up inside of me. Of course, it's somehow my problem, but I think with all of these things we had to understand like, yeah, those are the problems or weaknesses of the other person, and how can we help the other person to live with it better, or in general for us to live with these weaknesses better.
And for example, for me, like these tidying things, it's completely like a no effort, it's like a zero effort thing. I didn't mind doing it over and over and over and over again, and but for me it was still like so hard for me to understand like why is it so hard for just taking things out. And so with the couple therapy, it made it a bit easier for me to understand that I could just, if it doesn't take any effort for me, I could just do it. And I'm not doing it simply because I want to help her, but I'm doing it because first of all it's effortless for me.
It makes our life easier.
It makes our life easier, of course, and also I understood like, what's hard for her. It's not because that it's easy for me, then it's easy for her. It could just be like it's easy for me, but for her it's still like super hard to do it simply because of our backgrounds or how we see things.
And for me, for example, is that I was learning to treat Stephen more like I'm treating also my child, which sounds in a way weird, but and it takes also energy of me, of course, which the way Stephen has to do things with me also takes energy from him. But in moments where I see Stephen can't control his emotions, for example, before I would expect from him completely to control himself, to deal with it, and I would also get angry myself about his behavior. But with time I learned that what would I do to my child, or if she's like in a tantrum or angry or has strong emotions, I would try to help her calm down, be with her emotions, accompany her with that. And that's what I also then try with Stephen now, to help him and that's coming already to the next point, understanding the other person's weaknesses. And when you understand them and appreciate them in a way and not make the person feel even worse about those weaknesses, it's harder for the person in the next moment to also deal with those own weaknesses. Or how do you feel about that? Or how my behavior changed with
true.
the time?
Like I think with time, we are learning, and it's kind of easy because even the arguments that before took weeks to be solved, now they take hours or like only a few days, or like immediately we see where the problem is and they get like solved immediately. And I think it's...
And why is that, or why do you think we can solve them faster nowadays?
I think from the things that we learned from the couple therapy, and I think at the very beginning I was kind of like against it. I was against the couple therapy.
Maybe you can explain like how that come like somehow also culturally, or you were always saying someone who doesn't know our family, why should he hear about our problems?
Yeah, right? True. At first I was like, the person who does not know us, in this case like the therapist, why would they be the people to come like jump in between in our times of need to try to help us or to help us to solve our problems? And I said to Alex that we are the ones who know what the problem is. If we cannot solve it ourselves, then at least we should go to the person who knows us better. For example, our parents, in this case like my parents-in-law. And so
we did that also, but in the end it's also not fair to involve with a couple therapist. Yeah, you pay someone, but that person then does that job, and the like relatives, for example, like my mom, for example, that it's also sometimes emotionally too much for her to then be like, she was very good, I think, in being neutral and not being on my side only or on your side only, but yeah.
And I think
at the end she's also not a professional.
Then she also recommended it too. She also recommended us to go to the couple therapy.
Guys,
like guys, come on, you can just go to the couple therapy.
Yeah.
And so I think that was so good. The couple therapy was very, very, very good in my opinion, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Because also like from back home, I think that's how things I grew up knowing things getting done like that. That when couples are having problems, their parents are involved and they're getting each other time off. But
maybe that's
couple therapy.
That's coming to the next point, giving each other time off. Another tip that we're having is taking time off if that's at all possible for you, because we usually, Amadea was born, since we're living here together, which is the same, we always had like 2 times per year where we had trips, just the 2 of us. Like for example, I mean not in the first year when she was born, but then we went to Tenerife, we went to Paris this year, or like just to a spa hotel and things like that. That's where in those moments we always realized how we actually are as a couple when the whole daily situations are not there, the stress and the work and all of that.
True.
Yeah. Then another tip would be to understand power dynamics in the relationship, and that's somehow in a mixed race relationship more complicated than it is already when you are in a heterosexual relationship like man and woman. I mean, there are also many more different levels of like different, coming from different social classes and stuff like that. But yeah, in our case, it was important, or is still important, that we concern ourselves with the topic of racism and how it impacts our relationship, and then also feminism and power dynamics that come from there, like how you act as a man towards me in our relationship, and how I am as a white woman in the relationship. And yeah, that it can always, like sometimes you even say to me, that's a racist move from you or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're reading books about it. I think you could read a bit more about feminism still.
I'm not a reading person.
Yeah, or inform yourself more about it, sure. Because yeah, these power dynamics that are related to being a man in a relationship, they are also important to understand, as well as understanding what racism has, what impact racism has.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think for me as a black person, it does not take reading to understand like this person is kind of like being racist. It's kind of
Yeah.
like a natural thing.
But I think we have to also talk about that. Most people think being racist means as if I call you some bad names or like treat you like I don't know what. Like racism is often more subtle, and the way is like misogynistic behavior, like behavior that is disempowering women. It's often not, or you're not saying like I'm the man, I'm deciding things here, but it can be small things in a relationship, and maybe we can talk about that in more detail in another video. But yeah, anyways, it's something to also really concern yourself with for a healthy relationship.
And what was the other point?
The last point is the love languages, to understand that other person's love languages. First of all, what are the 5 love languages? So they are words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, physical touch, and acts of service. So what do you think is my love languages? That the way that I like most how you express love towards me.
So I think for you it's a physical touch, quality time. Is it quality time there? What was the other one?
Words of affirmation, acts of service.
You don't care about that.
Receiving gifts and acts of service, yeah.
Acts of service a bit, I would say. Receiving gifts is kind of like not your thing, but I think if I bring you something nice, you always appreciate it. But I think more like the quality time and physical touches are your majors.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the one that we're still like working on is the quality time. It's already has been gotten better, but that's
way better.
Yeah, but in that we're a bit oftentimes we're a bit opposite than most heterosexual couples, where like the woman man relationships or roles are switched. In our case, for example, when it's about the weekend, Stephen would prefer to spend the whole day cleaning and tidying before we go out and do something else.
The time which I don't have during weekdays.
Yeah, which is fair, but I'm more like, okay, the apartment looks a mess, especially when I was working. Now I'm in maternity leave, so I can do like more household things. But if I was working almost the whole day, then with Amadea, and then I would rather say on the weekend, we see each other, we spend time, do a trip or something, and you would rather, first do the tidying. And then I have to just appreciate or see those moments that we do spend together, when it's like dancing in the evening together, having dinner, these small things. They're also quality time. So again, it's like a mixture of still communicating to Stephen and asking, can we do trips together? Can we do this? Do you want to do this? But still also from my side appreciating the quality time that we're already having as a couple and as a family. And for you, I think yours is acts of service more, like if I'm doing things in the household or things like that, or you see that I'm putting effort to.
I think for that, for me, it's more like if you do things, it's not that it's not, I don't know, but I don't know if it makes sense, but it's not that I feel like loved, but I appreciate her putting the efforts, and that's why I'm like, thank you so much for like doing this. And
that's what we do in general a lot. That could be another point. True. Appreciation.
We appreciate each other a lot.
We say every day, like when we see, someone did this, oh, thank you for doing the kitchen. Stephen does the kitchen every single evening. I mess it up and he cleans it, and I say like every morning, almost.
Actually, not every single evening. It could also be like I just finished cleaning it, I just went for a shower, and then coming back it's already like a mess. So like.
Yeah, but then I think you also appreciate gifts more than me.
Yeah.
That's like a thing that you really
like. Presents are nice.
Presents, and physical touch you also like, but it's not as important for you as for me.
Yeah, I think I like it more when I just have the hand to lie on.
But what else would you say? Another one of those words of affirmation, quality time? Which one is most important for you?
Yeah, I think the quality time is something that I can't say that I grew up with it so much. With the family, I don't know. I don't know what my sisters will say about
You
it.
mean also maybe that you see quality time as something different than me? It is also a bit cultural, I think, because here it's always like, yeah, at the weekend you do trips together, and in Tanzania you spend so much
we
more
see that
time
in the
naturally.
movies.
And in Tanzania you naturally spend more time as a family. You eat together, you almost, I mean, apart from being at work, but otherwise it's much more part of the daily life, so you don't have that need. Yeah, now at the weekend we have to do something as a family together, right?
Yeah, I think maybe you guys are, no offense, but I think you're lacking like more like a social life that which we kind of like automatically have. Like it's kind of like a natural thing that we have back home.
Yeah.
And for me, something which I'm also like learning, which I find super cool, to be honest. And I think it's like this thing of being home, because I grew up not having my father having dinner with us together as a family, which happened like, I don't know, a few times that I could even barely remember. So I think it's very important that fathers stay at home, have dinner with the family, eat together.
It sounds like something for here, to be honest, normal.
Yeah, I know.
it's
Yeah, but
not
my dad,
for everyone.
I salute the guy so much, because he was there. When we were having dinner, he was there struggling to get something for us to eat, to get the bread for the family. So I appreciate him so much for all the efforts that he did put in. Salute, Mr. Dad. But also I think it's such a good thing, because when I sit on the table, I get to know like how the day was for everyone. Like Alex and Amadea also, we kind of like question Amadea, like how the day was, what was so good in the kindergarten, or like what was so special for the day. And yeah, so I think this time, because it's kind of like almost it's the only time that you kind of like get during the evening, you know. And apart from that, once we are done eating, we just start to get wild, dance and run on each other, and when Alex goes away. And do you think that's the time where the only time where you can get away from us a bit?
Yeah.
What do you want to say?
I wanted to say that we finish it off now.
No, if it flows, what's wrong with you?
I can't sit anymore in this position. Okay, so yeah, if you have any more questions or also some tips for us about how to have a healthy mixed race relationship,
Just put them in the comments below.
and obviously not everything we said is just for mixed race relationship, but
Yeah, true.
this is our experience.
Yeah, and these tips, they could be maybe working only for us. And I'm sure,
they're universal.
and I'm sure like from these tips that we just give out, I'm sure there are some tips that you can just use for yourself and stay a bit longer. And as usual, if you like, go off. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video.
Comment. Okay.
And comment. And also you can, the subscribe is just here somewhere below. Just,
Okay, enough, Stephen.
you just wait.